On very early stages of a project, even before any schedule has been elaborated, key strategic decisions have to be made regarding manufacturing methods, alternative technologies, key vendors, and such. Safran Risk is fully able to address these important early decisions. For example, consider the cost model we have previously defined with 4 key risks involved. After a very early sensitivity analysis has been performed over cost, it is clear that risk 3, whatever that is, has an overwhelming impact upon the whole project cost. A sensitivity analysis reveals on this early assessment that risk 3 has an impact of close to $611 at P80 over total costs for the project. Remember, this is a project with a deterministic baseline of $4,000. Assume that this is a pervasive risk that impacts most cost lines of the project. Observe that we haven't mentioned anything yet about schedules or durations or activities. We're simply laying out the major cost components. By addressing this overwhelming risk with alternative technologies, the project company can take a look at strategic options early on. On this example, the execution of an alternative, more expensive technology has 3 components. It implies a higher cost, but reduces the probability of occurrence of the risk from 20% to 5%. It also reduces the high right-hand side tail severity from 150% to 105% relative length. In other words, extreme costs impacted by this type of risk will be much less probable and much less severe by incurring on this alternative technology. One way in which alternatives can be modeled in Safran Risk is through the pre- and post-mitigation alternatives on risk definitions. One pre-mitigated position has been defined for risk 3 with a likelihood of 20% and a right-hand side tail of cost impact up to 150%. Also, a post-mitigated position has been defined at 5% with a right-hand side tail of cost impact up to 105%. We're also including the added cost of this more expensive technology with an amount of $200. On the Cost Distribution Graph tab, send your comparison results to Comparison. Change the name of this scenario to Strategy 1. Then, on the Analyze tab, run your simulation again, making sure risk 3 has been placed on a post-mitigated position. Run the simulation again. Safran Risk will position itself upon the cost distribution graph, where you can now send to comparison the post-mitigated position. You will now be able to compare the alternative strategy. Even though strategy 2 has an upfront cost of $200, it is better able to handle a net total cost savings of $536 at the P80 level. It is well worth paying this alternative, more expensive strategy, as it addresses a risk that permeates extensively the whole project. By calculating impacts again on the Sensitivity Analysis tab, risk 3 has stepped down onto the last relative position, decreasing its magnitude from its original $611 at P80 to only $50.